I always think that is such a cool intro, those 30 seconds, but I also feel like, man, that's a lot of hype for what you're about to watch. Anyway, I'm Jeff Blankenburg. Welcome to the show. I'm here working on an Alexa skill, and we're gonna just get right into it. Nothing to recap, nothing to highlight. For those of you that missed it, yesterday there was a fall launch event yesterday, and we announced a few new devices. I suppose I should spend a minute talking about that, because I certainly ordered a few things. The two that I was the most interested in actually are not yet available. They'll be launching sooner, I think. You can pre-order them, or at least you can sign up to be notified when they are available. One was the Halo Rise. It's a device that, without cameras or microphones, can monitor your sleep for you from your nightstand. That seems kind of interesting, and as someone that sleeps poorly, I'm looking forward to getting my hands on that one. But beyond that, there was a couple of new Echo Dots. There's a new line of televisions, which I'm going to try and get. I need to talk with you guys about this. This will be on the down low right now. It's just you and me, Kevin, I think. But what I think I'm going to do is get one of these TVs that they announced yesterday, 65-inch TV. And I think I'm going to mount a motorized mount for it on my ceiling. Now, I got a lot of measurements and figuring out to do, but I think I can mount it above me here. And then, so it's on the ceiling. So it would be out of frame. And then when I want to use it, or I want to show it on stream or whatever, I can have it just bring, I just started echoing, huh? That's interesting. I wonder why. You don't have me open in two browsers, do you? I don't think I do. Maybe I do. Let's make sure I don't have that. No, not there. That's a weird one. I don't know why I would be echoing. Is it still going, Kevin? Anyway, imagine a TV, big TV, mounted up above me here. And then when I use a voice command, the motorized thing brings the TV down right behind me, so we can talk about or see what's ever on the screen or whatever. And then when I'm done with it, it just goes kind of back up. Hi, Oxygen Box. That's a good pun. So one of the things that I thought was pretty interesting, I had the Eero mesh Wi-Fi system here in my house for a while, and then I think the main unit died, and so I moved on to something else based on a recommendation from a friend. But now, one of the things that Echo devices will be able to do, and they're going to get an over-the-air update for this, is that they will become mesh Wi-Fi extenders for Eero. And they were able to do this with just a software update, which I think is super cool. So you'll now be able to use your Echo devices as Wi-Fi extenders in your house. Mind-blowing. I think that's a really cool application of devices we already have around our house, and it makes me want to go back to Eero, which is also, I'm sure, one of the reasons they did it, because that's pretty cool. I'm trying to think of the other stuff. Let me see because I ordered a bunch of stuff yesterday. If I go to my orders, which is just obscene, like I said, new Echo Dot with clock. And what's interesting to me about the clock one is that they changed the dynamic of it. So we used to have this part of APL called APLT, which was meant to be text only. And it was a very limited alphabet. You couldn't even do the entire English alphabet. There were certain letters that wouldn't work because it was a display like an old-timey clock. Not old-timey, but older digital clock, right? Where you just have the individual components that make up letters. And they've changed it. So with the Echo Dot 5th generation with clock, the display looks different. And now it's a grid of boxes, which means that you can do all sorts of interesting stuff. I think. I haven't heard anything about this, but it'll be interesting when I get this device in my hands, which is October 20th. I want to see what APLT looks like. Can I provide more characters to it? Is it still the same? Because I think there's a lot of power in being able to take advantage of that text on front of the screen. Okay, other things that I am looking at. There's the new Echo Studio, which now comes in white. I think it's a newer version of the Echo Studio, but do I have one here? I have one. Where did I put it? That's interesting. It's not in this room. I may have that down in my basement, actually. It's got a really, really good sound. And then, so there's a white one of that. The Fire TV devices, they now sell a remote control for it called the Amazon Voice Remote Pro. And it has a bunch of cool features and functionality, but one of them is that you can ask Alexa to make your remote control beep. And so you can actually find it if it falls down on the cushions of the couch or whatever. There's also a new Fire TV Cube. There's this TV that I was telling you about, the Omni QLED series. These are 4K TVs. I think the 65 inches, boy, it's like 700, 750, something like that. A couple new kids ones. But I think a lot of the interesting announcements yesterday were really related to large empty hall. And it's just suddenly Oxygen Box. That's weird because I'm not touching or changing anything. Very strange. I wonder what would be causing that. Does this fix it? What is this? Does anyone, what is there an echo now? Do you hear me at all? I'm assuming you can hear me now. It's better. Okay, so interesting. So I have a whole mixer board over here, and the mixer board, I have two things happening. One, I have the microphone running directly into the mixer board, and then out as the output into my computer to go out to you all. Then I also have the audio out of my PC also coming into this mixer board and then going out. But I think that as a result of that, the microphone also comes through. And so I really need to reevaluate this whole setup. So many things that I really need to look at. I built this studio area, I don't know, like 2 years ago. And I feel like there's some tweaking that needs to happen to make it better. But I'm glad the echo's gone. We'll continue on and see what we can do. Anyway, that was my quick little recap of Alexa Live yesterday. There was also a bunch of cool Eero devices released.
I'm having trouble hearing. Can you say that again?
Alexa, stop. There was also cool new Kindle. For those of you that don't remember, I think I talked about this at some point, but I bought a few years ago a device called the Remarkable tablet. And it's an e-ink note-taking device, basically. And it was fantastic. You could write on it with their special pen, and then you could take the notes, and it would convert it to text, and you could email it to play. It was awesome. But it was also like $500. And so I used it for a little while, and I felt like I wasn't using it $500 worth. And so I ended up returning it. But I felt like, man, that was such a useful way for me to take notes and keep track of things and to-do lists and whatever else. And so this new Kindle, the Kindle Scribe, has that capability built in. And so now I have, I haven't owned a Kindle in quite a while, but now I can have a Kindle that also allows me a lot of those capabilities. And I haven't dug in deeply yet, but I have to imagine that they've thought of those use cases, right? Being able to transcribe it to text, send documents to certain places, save notes, on and on. So I'm interested to see where that goes. Anyway, that's not the point of today. Today, I wanted to write some code. I wanted to build some stuff. So we're going to do just that. So I'm going to go ahead and get my developer console up here and running. See if we can get some stuff built. Okay, so I have all of that. Now I just need to share my screen. We'll see if we get the crackliness today. We're actually working with the team over at StreamYard to see if we can figure out why some of this stuff is happening, but we don't know just yet. Okay, so we've got my code. I suppose the first thing to do before we go very far is to spin up the debug console, make sure it's working, and then run a command against it. So we could do something like this, and just makes me want to say open voice developer.
Developer. Did you know I can repeat what I just said? Just say, repeat that, to hear anything I say a second time.
Yeah, see, I definitely hear the crackliness of Alexa, but we're just gonna live with it. Okay, so hopefully it's not terrible or too distracting, but appreciate you guys being here and putting up with the nonsense. Just say repeat that to hear anything I say a second time. Great. So my skill is working. I assume if I come to my here, yeah, I see that response. One of the other things that I should do before I go much further is that I have in my code in a bunch of places, especially in this data folder, I have the term URL. And in there, I have this console log full path where I type out the URL. This is basically this URL, but it has all of my API keys dumped right into it. And what I found is that when I'm doing this on screen here with all of you, probably not my best choice. I'm just going to comment these out. They're really good for debugging because it lets me just take that URL. I can tweak it right in the browser and see why I'm having an issue, but I don't need all of these on. And it would be better for me if I didn't have that on all the time. I almost wish you could, like, that needs to be a new property of code, is right? Like, there's a bunch of things for when you deploy to specific environments and things like that. It would be pretty cool to also be able to say, if I'm streaming, don't do this. Like, it's an if condition for what activity you're currently doing. So I think that probably did it. I think I got all of them now. Okay. All right, moving on. If we look, let's go look at my skill for a second, because I have a few things that I need to implement. So if we look at my interaction model, you can see I have speech con intent. I feel like that is mostly done. The answer intent needs a lot of work, and maybe I can spend a little time on that, as well as the news intent. This is something else I could work on today. The byproduct intent works as expected. We worked on that last time. We've gotten everything working now. So basically, we can offer to sell a product. User comes back, and we're just like, okay, what do you want to do now? Like, we don't really know if they bought it or not, so we can't really comment on that. But we can say, okay, let's do something else now. Sound effect intent is now also working as expected. This is what allows us to hear and search through any of the sound effects. I think for now, just as a recap, if you ask for something that's broad, like, there's 3,000 sound effects. So let's say you ask for something that has more than five sound effects that match the search term. I go pull them out of the database, and I just pick 5 for you, and I play them randomly. And if that 5 didn't hit the one you want, then you can just ask for it again. But I'm not currently. I probably will have to build some kind of pagination feature where I say, hey, you asked me for this. There's 16 results. Here's the first 5. Do you want to hear more? And then I could say, okay, here's 5 more, and then here's 5 more, or whatever. I think I probably should build that kind of functionality into this skill, but for a sound effect where you're just looking for like the sound of a train, it didn't feel as important as, oh, I really need to hear or see all of this data. So maybe we'll get there at some point. So let's take a look at the news intent, because this is working for the most part. I think I should be able to. Let's look at that. What are my utterances for that? The news intent. So this is one of the things that I'm working with my my team on, is that one, I want to make a skill that's very useful to developers, right? It's something that's an easy way to try and experience a variety of things, but there's also an opportunity to make sure that you have the latest information. And my grand vision for this skill in the long term is to not only be able to give you a lot of Q&A kind of stuff, like maybe we do with office hours, like, hey, how do I do this? Or hey, how do I solve this problem? Or whatever. But I also want to be able to broadcast office hours directly. Maybe we could do that today. That might be cool. I don't have a ton of time. I have less than an hour. I don't know if we can get through that in an hour. I also noticed that my camera is blinking sometimes. Also very annoying. Hey, Gold Zulu, welcome. So I want to be able to show office hours in two ways. One, I want to be able to show old ones. So like show me the last office hours should be a thing. In fact, let's just do that. If we come to our intents, we should say add intent, and we should have an office hours intent. We don't have to build the whole thing now, but we're going to create a custom intent, and then we're going to say show me the last office hours. Office hours. What else? What else do I do? Show me. But so I want to be able to show like the most recent one. And in a perfect world, if you were Gold Zulu with a subscription, my goodness, thank you. I don't have all that fancy Twitch stuff hooked up here yet to like do the overlays. I'll have to get back to that at some point. But I want to be able to show the most recent episode of Office Hours, but I would also love to interrupt you. If you open a skill and it's like, hey, by the way, Office Hours is playing right now. Do you want to watch it? Like if you tune in during the live stream. I mean, that's a small window of time, but it would be an interesting capability to offer if a broadcast was actually happening. I don't know anybody that's doing something cool like that. I also don't know how to play a live stream directly from YouTube or Twitch or whatever into a skill. All things to be figured out. But so for at least for right now, we could build show me the most recent office hours. And what I would have to do is figure out how do I catalog those? How do we catalog those? Could I pull it dynamically? So in videos, office hours featuring the Alexa Skill Insights team. Yeah, another thing that we didn't do here is the names don't have the date in them. Is that date metadata held here at all? Streamed live on September 22nd, so September 27th. But how do I know it's the most recent office hours? Is there a playlist? Do we have a playlist for office hours? Looks like we do. Stop it. Ooh, I got that rattling around in my brain, that song. Okay, so I do have a playlist. I wonder if I could get to this programmatically. Like there's got to be a YouTube API or something, right? Because my other option would be to just add a table to my data. Like I have news, right? So we'll have news things that are interesting, and out here at the end we have publication date, expiration date, so we know like the moment that this news shouldn't be circulated anymore, it is pulled from circulation automatically by the expiration date. So for office hours, I feel like the low-hanging fruit is for me to just load these in. I have an office hours table, but this is questions. I have to think about this one. I'm not going to do that for now, but I will save it. I want to think about how I want to approach this. So I have my office hours intent at least. So let's take that little chunk. Come on, office hours intent. Right here, we'll just take this JSON. I can never remember the syntax for this, so I always do it here in the interface, and then I come into this and I add it. So we'll just drop it right there. Office hours intent exists now. That's cool. I think the thing that I want to do is I just reminded of this as I was looking at my table, is that I have answer. So this is going to get much bigger. This is a list of things that we want to tell you about, and it's kind of out of date. I think I made this table like 2 years ago. So there are things in here that I would keep, and there are things that I would add, things that I would remove. But as we think about all of the data that goes in here, I can do that now, right? I could say, tell me about it. Let's just see. If I say, tell me about account linking. Tell me about account linking.
You asked me about account linking. Account linking enables your skill to connect the skill user's Amazon identity with their identity in a different system. Did you know that you can ask for sound effects? Just say something like, play a laser sound effect.
Okay, so that part's working. And if we look, you can see it said account linking enables your skill to connect the skill user, whatever. So if we look at account linking, we look at voice response. Account linking enables your skill to connect the skill. Yeah, it's the same text, right? So we're pulling it right out of this table, right out of that field. But one of the things that I would love to be able to add is missed answer. And this is where it hit that intent, but I didn't resolve anything. Could we even do that? Let's see if we can even accomplish that. So if I hit evaluate model and I say, tell me about tacos. Okay, that's kind of what I was expecting. So you can see here that I'm hitting the answer intent and I'm getting slot value tacos, but I know that tacos isn't going to resolve to anything. So I'm going to use that to my benefit, and I'm going to store that value here in this missed answer table. So I think that's what we're going to do. So let's go look at the answer intent, which is relatively simple now. So what I have in here is I have a bunch of to-dos. Okay, so what do I actually have? If they resolved something, so that's this. If they resolved anything, I'm sorry, if they didn't resolve anything, then we're going to apologize and we're going to say, hey, we didn't have an answer. We didn't have something for that. And one of my thoughts on this one was, should I just go get them a random topic instead? I'm not doing that today. I'm just saying, hey, we don't have anything. So let's see what if I say tacos. What do I get? Tell me about tacos.
I don't have a record for tacos. My apologies. I'll do some research. Instead, did you know I can repeat what I just said? Just say, repeat that, to hear anything I say a second time.
Where did that instead come from? Is that in my table? If I look at my speech and I say answer apology. Yeah, I don't have a record for spoken words. My apologies. I'll do some research. I don't think that instead should be. I mean, it worked in that case, but that doesn't work for all cases. I can't do that. I don't have a record for spoken words. My apologies. I'll do some research. Okay, and so that's going to use tacos, and that's all good. So that's great. Let's familiarize ourselves with the rest. If there is only one resolved answer, then that is the one we're going to use. I'm not sure I believe in this. If I resolve multiple things, what would I do? Would I present the choices to you? Or would I still just go with the first one? This isn't even really the thing I wanted to work on here. Yeah, I do tell myself here, if there's more than one entity, then I want to provide a list of options, which is probably the right choice. I still don't know what to do if there's more than 5. I should add that here. What do you do if there are more 5 or more resolutions? Okay, if there's only one entity resolved, I've done that, so we can. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Why did that just happen? I'm trying to remember the keystrokes for this. If I am on a PC and I want to highlight the whole row, I could do Shift Control Home. No. Shift Home. Yeah. I use the arrow keys like I do on my Mac, and I don't remember what that keystroke is. We'll figure it out. Okay, that one's gone. If there's more than one entity resolved, provide a list of options. If there are no entities resolved, tell them that you don't know about that one. I've done that. And then, mark this answer as one that the user has heard before. I'm not doing that yet. So the thing that I want to do right now is that I want to, if I don't know it, I also need to store that somehow. So this is one of those where it's not really like me going to the database and getting something. It's a put. It's a like, just go do the thing. Like a word specific achievement kind of does that. Although I am returning, I'm returning nothing here. But I don't even think that I need that much work. I think I can just insert a record. Where do I just insert a record? I do this somewhere. Let me think. Thinking. User achievement. I just drop a record in here with some data, of course. But so user, neither of those. This bit right here, create, that's what I want. Okay. Create user achievement record is all I really want. So, but what I'm doing in this case is it a save? It's not a get. I'm trying to keep a universal syntax for how I name these files. Word specific achievement really is not a very good name. The problem I have is that this file does multiple things, which it probably shouldn't do. But I basically say, like, go into the database, find out, do they have this achievement? And if they do, then if they don't, go ahead and insert it. That's what this is doing. In this case, I don't care whether or not it's there already. I just want to insert a record. It's got to be save missed answer, save put missed answer. I don't know the right answer here. I guess we can always change it. Save missed answer. .js. Okay. So if we look at a word specific achievement, the first thing we need is like this junk. I think we'll be able to get rid of some of this. So do we need to get random speech? No, we don't need any of that because this is called save missed answer. Module.exports save missed answer. Then I also need to take this Add to my index. Save goes here. Alphabetical makes it easier. Okay, and then we throw it here, and whoa, let's relax. Copy. Okay, so now save missed answer is there entirely. Now all I have to do is write the code for that, and I should be able to do that by looking at what happens in award-specific achievements. So I should be able to just take this, not even that much, this much. And they had error. I already have Airtable at the top, great. Helper, I won't even need fetch. So I do that. That has my keys, great, got that. User achievement is not where I want to put this. I want to call this missed answer. And what do we actually have in that table? Missed answer. I don't even care who said it. Do I really not care? I should care who said it, right? Which user? I should care. Let's add a new field called user. Okay, and we don't know it for these, but we'll know it for that one. So back to my code. User will be user ID, which I have. Save missed answer. I need answer. This is called value. And then all of that is great. I don't really care about returning the value. I just want to fire it in there and kind of forget about it. So that looks pretty good though, if I'm being honest. Where does user ID come from? Why don't I have a reference to user ID? I have it up here. Because I pass it in when I do this. So I need to get user record ID. So we'll call this that. Oh, copy. Call it user ID. My session attributes, which I also don't currently have, so we'll get those. Okay, so I'm getting my session attributes. I'm getting the user ID. Then I'm calling my Airtable. Then I'm putting a new record in missed answer with the user ID and the answer that I've been provided. All of that looks pretty cool. Okay. Let's roll with that. Save missed answer needs to be called someplace. So answer intent, if they didn't do this here, then we're going to say var missed answer. This doesn't really wait data dot get save missed answer. This is going to be spoken answer and handler. All right. Is it going to work on our first try? You guys that have been here before, you know, no way this happens on our first try, but we'll try. So we're saving our missed answer into this table. It'll have a user ID, and my user ID happens to be that. Or is it going to be that? It's going to be that. I want this. Record ID, what am I pulling? Record ID. Okay, that's the one I want. So user ID and answer, we just got to try it. Like I don't know what I'm waiting for. Okay. Tell me. Changing the stage, cancel. What did that? Tell me about tacos. Is it just going to work? Uh-oh, Jeff. What is happening? We don't have a record for tacos. Okay, so let's try opening the skill again. Maybe we lost our connection to the skill.
Here's what I know about office hours.
Yeah, so you knew that.
Alexa developer office hours are live streamed on Twitch every Tuesday from 9.
Tell me about tacos. How about that? You want to do that one?
The requested skill took too long to respond.
Took too long. An exception occurred while dispatching the request to the skill. What? Field value cannot accept the provided value. Wasn't I passing a string in? Oh, because it's not an array. It's not an array, Jeff. It's not an array. Why would you think it's going to be an array? Okay. Let's try that again. Tell me about tacos.
Finding some tacos recipes.
Nope, also no.
The requested skill took too long to respond.
You get to start over now. Like I said, never works the first time. There's always something. Okay, open voice developer.
Welcome to the voice developer.
Tell me.
Did you know I can repeat what I just said?
Tell me about tacos.
I don't have a record for tacos. My apologies. I'll do some research.
Okay, so
What should we do now?
we got it. I now have the user ID. If I click on this, I can see all of my stuff. And tacos is stored in the database. So we were able to just now create a record in the database when a user gives me an answer that I don't have an answer for. Now, what I should do is enter tacos as a synonym for something and make sure that it doesn't, I mean, it shouldn't hit it, right? If we try anything else, that certainly wouldn't happen. So I think we're good. I'm going to take all of these and delete them so that in the future we only get good ones. But this table gives me the ability now to see, like, what are people asking for that we're not accommodating, right? So as people are using the skill and they ask about something specific, we can respond to that. It doesn't mean we'll solve it for the first person, but hopefully for the second person, we'll have the right answer for them. Okay. It's 9:15. Keeping an eye on time. Got things to do today. What else could we do in here? We could mark every answer. Maybe we could do that because that's an update. Is it an update? I think it's an update. Let's think about what we want to do in our data. So for a user, I want to keep track of the answers that they've heard before. So in the same way that I have a table for achievements that a user has accomplished, I would want a user answer table. None of that works for me. Do I have to do it way down here? Okay, create empty table. This is going to be called user answer. And what this gets for me by doing this is it gives me the ability to know which answers a user has heard before. So if they want something at random or teach me something new, right? Like that would be a cool one. Then I could pick from only the ones that the user has never heard before. I suppose I could also give them the ability to reset that so that they can find those things, but I think this is okay for now. So we're going to call this one record ID. This is just going to be a unique identifier. So formula, this is going to be record ID, 2 parentheses, and that's great. Okay, so then this is going to be user. This is going to link to my user table. Great. And then that can be small. And then this is going to be answer. This is going to point to my answer table. And if if we keep I think there's like a date created time. We could just call this created time. 24 hour, please. Use the same time zone. That's a new feature, display time zone. I don't remember that before. Okay, save. So now I have the time that those records were created. So I could also go back and say, hey, you also heard this answer on September 29th of last year or whatever. That's kind of a cool bit of functionality. But again, we're in a situation where we're going to create a new record based on the user and the answer. So in here, when we know what answer it is, I assume for answers, if I look at this, those are my answers are my record IDs. That's perfect. So I already have the record ID of the answer, and I already have the record ID of the user. Do I? I don't, but I can get that here in a second. So I think what we're going to do is save. Let's just do this, save as, save ourselves some work. And we'll call this save user answer. That's probably, that's probably right. Save user answer. Save user answer, not with a D. Save user answer. And this is going to be in the table user answer, and the two records are user and answer. And pull the answer ID just so we don't get confused. And we're going to get user ID out of the. Now this one should be an array. It's one of the things that's confusing to me about Airtable actually is that when you think about a record like this, and I can show you the choice that I just made. So I said I want this to be a link to the answer table, which is all my answers. And then they have this field here that says this field will link to records in the answer table. Perfect. And then they have this checkbox, which is on by default, that says allow linking to multiple records. Well, in that case, yeah, I would expect the field to accept arrays of values because I could provide multiple answers at the same time. But if I turn this off, I feel like it should also be wise enough to know that, like, I'm only going to ever give you one record ID at a time. But it doesn't matter what choice you make here. Every time that you pass something into that API, you have to send them an array only, which is that feels counterintuitive to me. Okay, so this might be pretty easy. I have user answer the table. I have user and I have answer. I have to add this to my registry so I can actually call it. So we'll do that here. Save user answer. Def. And then over here. Save user answer, and then down here, save user answer. Okay. That should do that. So now in the answer intent, let's see what we're doing here. We're awaiting getting our answer. We're awaiting get random speech for answer confirmation. This is another thing I never remember the syntax for, but let's go find an example where we are making multiple calls. Here we go. We'll just take that, move it over to answer intent. We're going to make multiple asynchronous calls all at the same time. So we'll call this one answer. We'll call this one answer confirmation. And then our new one is going to be user answer. Oh. User answer ID. Okay. We're going to take all these. We should be able to take this like so. I don't have awaits in that one because you don't need it. You have the await there. I have this here. be the second one, answer confirmation. And then the third one is going to look a lot, it should just be a data save user answer. You're going to want the answer ID, which is just answer ID, very convenient, and then handler input. That's where I'll get the user ID from. What else do I need? So I can get rid of these two. And now we're making all those asynchronous calls at once rather than waiting for each one to happen in a row. And that gets me those three values. I don't really care about this one, but I'll catch it anyway. And then we do the rest. So that should save for me that you've heard a specific answer. Again, no way this works on our first try, but we'll... hey, Paul Cutsinger, how are you? We're building a thing. We're building a thing with stuff. And this this specifically is tell me about... Oh, do I still have him in there? That would be pretty cool if we could do this. Answer. I don't. So our good friend Paul Cutsinger is now working with the fine people at Intel, and he's no longer a part of our team, which makes me sad. But let's just do account linking again because we know that one works. So tell me about account linking, and it should give us the answer and no errors because
I think you asked me about account linking. Account linking enables your skill to connect the skill user's Amazon identity with their identity in a different system.
First time.
Did you know that you can ask for sound effects? Just say something like, play a laser sound effect.
So we got it on our first go, which is good. I mean, we're reusing code. That's the beauty of code. I'm going to bring this all the way up here to user answer. And you can see that we now stored a record for the user and the answer, which also then means that I can do things like if I add a new column here, we could call this a roll-up account. Count is probably good. Choose a field in this table. I want to do user answer. We're going to call this account. You can see that I have this answer count now that is 1. They have 1 answer. Okay, so all of that is great, and I'll be able to use this for other things like achievements. But there's one more piece to this that we're not doing because we're just going to insert it every time, which means that if I say that same command again, tell me, I can't type about account linking.
You asked me about account linking.
Is that we get 2
account linking enables your skill to connect the skill user's Amazon identity with their identity in a different system. What would you like to do next?
Why did I say Intel? NVIDIA, Paul. My apologies. My brain's not working today. In fact, I was just fighting with my NVIDIA drivers today, cursing your name. So my bad, not Intel. NVIDIA. That's my mistake. See how it's inserting it twice, though? This is the thing that I wanted to avoid. So I also have to check, have they already heard that one before? Because we don't want to insert a record every single time. So that takes us to save user answer, and that's where we end up in a world like award specific achievement, where we have a check case first. Actually, I don't even know if we need a check case, because if we look at what Alexa's giving us, we might be able to get away with this. So if we look at my session attributes, I have user achievement right here. You can see I have sound effect count. These are the records out of my database. Speech con count. I see user achievement. Where would that data be? Record ID, score, created date, user. Why don't I see it? You can see that, like, for user achievement, I'm actually getting the user achievement records. So I have all the record IDs. What is this record ID? So thank you, Paul. Thank you for the time check, Kevin. Yeah, no, I'm still good. I've got a few minutes. But did I not name that thing properly? If I come to my user table, it's called user answer. Let's try something before I start writing a bunch of other code. Let's try this. Should just do what we want it to do. Let's come here and let's reset our session. That's actually where I should have been looking anyway. And we'll say open voice developer. And in here,
Welcome to the voice developer. What would you like to do next?
you can see that I have user answer. That doesn't really get me what I want, though. Shoot. That's only getting me the record ID of the user record, right? If that makes sense. The user answer record. So these record IDs, that does not actually help me. The thing I care about is this. No, it's not. The thing I care about is this. And I don't get that from that table. So I am going to have to write some more code. Okay. So in here, what I do is I say, hey, get me, let's look at this. For a specific locale, if it's not disabled, all of those things. I feel like we could probably just take this. So this is save user answer. This is what calls into the database. I think we're going to take this part out. And we're going to create a separate function down here. Export, and it can't be called otherwise. Function create user answer. I don't know what I need for that yet. And no. Do that. This does all the same stuff. Exactly the same way. We need handler input to be passed in here. And probably the answer ID. Yeah, answer ID. Handler input. Okay. And then in this one up here, what we want to do is we're going to have to, so we'll just take this and use it as a template. We will need to do some things. This means we're going to need fetch back, so we'll bring fetch back. Okay. So first things first, we still want the answer ID. We're going to need that here in just a second, but we get the user's record ID. Then we're going to call into the table answer. Is that what we're calling? Achievement. I feel like there's a better way to do this, but it should be user answer. That's what I should be calling. I should be calling user answer. And if it's never going to be disabled, maybe that's why I did it the other way. Answer. Let's just call it answer. Because if I look at my answer table, just to give you guys a quick rundown, if I look at my answer table, you can actually see that way out here at the end, I have a user record. And so one hidden field, user answer. That's why. Okay, so I have a user answer record out here on the far right. And so these are not helpful. Yeah, it's got to be the other way. It's got to be user answer. Okay. So this has to be user answer, because what I want to do is say disabled isn't even a thing, so we can get rid of that. If user, make sure I've got my naming right here. I mean user answer. If user is their user ID, great. So user, I feel like I want to search it though. Do I want to search it? I feel like this is safer. Instead of just saying code equals, we're going to say find. This is going to be find. What are we calling it? User record ID in user. And we're going to do the same thing. Here, and we're going to say find answer ID and answer. So what this query is doing, and again, I'm constructing kind of a gross URL query string, but the idea here is that they have this filter by formula. Paul, I'm in. I would collaborate with you on literally anything, so count me in. What this query does is it says, find me a record that has this user record ID and this answer. And this locale, do I care about locale? I don't care about locale. So just those two things. If those two things are found, let's see, I don't need this. I don't need any of the speech stuff because we're not actually saying anything about this. And we call out to our database and we say, if the length is greater than 0, then I don't want to do anything. What we want to say is if it equals 0, r.length equals 0, then we don't really need any of this. We just want to return create user answer record where I'm passing in the answer ID and their input. Seems dumb. I shouldn't do that. What I care about is user record ID. This just returns the record itself, which is fantastic. Return r.records. Why am I never hitting that? Oh, I'm just in the wrong loop. Now, if that's weird. This is just an extra. That's what I want. Okay. So if the length of the record, so that means we did not find a match, they don't already have that record, then we want to create the new record and we'll return it. Otherwise, let's just return the record as is. That should do it. That should do it. And so then on our answer intent, we're still going to get this save user answer. I don't really even care what this is, but we're getting it. I need to change my code down here at the bottom because I'm not passing handler input anymore. We're calling this user ID, and then I can get rid of these. Okay. So let me go delete the records that I have already so that the first time it should just work, should do what I want it to do. And if I say, tell me linking,
Jeff, I had trouble doing what you asked.
I love
Please try again.
answer ID is not defined. Well, where did I do that? On line 18. Yeah, of course it's not defined because it's a capital I. Add that to the list. Tell me about account linking. And go.
Here's what I know about account linking.
Nice.
Account linking enables your skill to connect the skill user's Amazon identity with their identity in a different system. What would you like to do next?
Okay, so account linking and creating my record work. If I look at my user record, I have one answer count. The user answer record is there. So now if we ask it again, we should not create a second record. Should not. Tell me about account linking. Now it'll still give me the answer, and that's fine, but I don't want it to create another record.
Here's what I know about account linking. Account linking enables your skill to connect the skill user's Amazon identity with their identity in a different system. What would you like to do next?
I would like for this not to have happened. Okay. If r.records.length equals 0, let's slap a breakpoint right there, and we'll see what we actually got. Tell me about account linking. Sorry to keep playing this over and over for you. R records length of 0. So create user answer record. Except it shouldn't have come back as empty, right? It should have come back with a match. That's my problem.
I think you asked me about account linking.
Okay.
Account linking enables your skill to connect the skill user's Amazon identity with their identity in a different system. What should we do now?
Okay, so why are we getting 0 records back if it does match? Find user record ID in user and find answer ID in answer. And we're looking in user answer. So if we look at that, in user answer, we have a column called user, a column called answer, because it's doing that. Because answer is built in a dumb way. Can I make this? That's my problem. Can I make my life easier without changing my table? Instead of passing in the answer ID, save user answer. Do I already have? This is where I'm actually getting the answer. So I could pull this piece out. And down here, actually even grab the name. And then I could say our user record key user answer record equals 8. Do that, but instead of passing answer ID, I'm going to pass answer name. I think this is my issue. Let's see if that does the thing that I want it to do, because I gave the primary identifier, it's the name of the records, instead of the record ID, which I have somewhere else, way out here somewhere. Yeah, this record ID. This is what that's probably what that left column should be. And that requires some re-engineering to move it. Not impossible, but let's see if tell me about account linking does what it should do. User answer.
Here's what I know about account linking. Account linking enables your skill to connect the skill user's Amazon identity with their identity in a different system. What would
I
you
think
like
that
to
works.
try?
Now we need to make sure that it still works when you haven't heard that before. And so tell me about account linking should this time create a record. Oh boy. Oh, invalid record ID is not a valid record ID. So even though you're showing me that name, I was passing you the right thing. You jerks. Didn't need the name.
The requested skill took too long to respond.
No kidding. Okay. So if that's not the issue, and this needs to be answer ID now. That's not the issue. What's the issue? Why are we not finding a match? I'm passing you the answer ID right here. And then I say, look in this table. I guess we could look at how we did it here, where we just have like code equals code, but that's because it's a string. That's why I did it that way. This works for everything else. Locales are done the same way. If I look at how I do locales for like answer, locales are an array of objects. And so I'm looking in this field using find and saying, hey, did I find English US or did I find English IN? So when I think about, oh man, I'm running out of time. If I think about user answer, well, if we run it now, okay. Tell me about account linking.
From wiseajik.net. A linked account is a bank. Hello, and welcome to. I think you asked me about account linking.
And I have my
Account
record.
linking enables your skill to connect the skill user's Amazon identity with their identity in a different system. What can I help you do next?
Stop sharing my screen for a second. I want to try. I want to look at the URL that I'm using, but I can't do that because it has like all the query, the API keys and stuff in it. That might give me some as to why it's not working. Right. Tell me about account linking.
I think you asked me about account linking.
I did.
Account linking enables your skill to connect the skill user's Amazon identity with their identity in a different system. Did you know that you can ask for sound effects? Just say something like, play a laser sound effect. I think you asked me about account linking. Account linking enables your skill to connect the skill user's Amazon identity with their identity in a different system. What should we do now?
And now we're back to inserting a record every time. So here's what it feels like to me. It feels like on the insert, I need the record. I need the user ID and the achievement ID. No, I'm on the wrong thing. Oh, that's why I'm not seeing what I see. Okay. So when I insert the record the first time, I need the answer ID. But I think when I search the field to check and see if it exists, I need the answer name. And that's because of my bad architecture. I'm going to have to stop here. Let me at least do this one more time. Just see this will confirm it for me.
I think you asked me about account linking. Account linking enables your skill to connect the skill user's Amazon identity with their identity in a different system. What should we do now?
I get no records, but if I take this, I say account. Yep. That's it. So, okay, so that's going to require me to change my table a little bit, which I don't have time to do right now. Poop. All right, we're going to have to leave it there for now. But what I'm going to have to do, just to give you guys a quick rundown, let me some things. And I can show you what where I've landed. So basically, when I insert a record into this table, I'm using the answer ID, which is this this record ID that's sitting out here. It's a unique identifier. The fact that I have it as a field doesn't really matter. That's just so I can see it. But each one of these records, whether or not I have this column, has a record ID. But I made the primary key on this table this name, and that's where my mistake is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this table so that this becomes record ID. This is the unique identifier, the primary key of this table. And then name will just move over. And I don't think I can just do that. I think if I take record ID, I don't think I can get it close, but I can't just swap them. So I'm going to have to do something special to like get these two to move over. Basically, I'm going to have to rename this one record ID. I'm going to have to rename this one name and swap all the values. Not a big deal, and ultimately shouldn't affect the functionality of my skill much, but it'll change the. Certainly, here, let's just do it. If I do insert left, delete me, take all of these records. Here. I change this to be a formula for record ID. Save. That's fine. I can live with all that, and we'll fix that. Then this column can go away. This column can be called record ID, called name, and out here I've got some stuff that's going to be broken. Name now. I'm not even using this, but I'll fix it anyway. Name. Okay, so this is my JSON. So now all of that looks good. I wonder if that just solved it. I wonder if I could just run and gun. Tell me about account linking. Well, I should have deleted the table first.
I think you asked me about account linking. Account linking enables your skill to connect the skill user's Amazon identity with their identity. I think you asked me about account linking.
Now we just don't insert records
Account linking enables your skill to connect the skill user's Amazon identity with their identity in a different system. Did you know I can repeat what I just said? Just say, repeat that, to hear anything I say a second time.
Turn my local debugging off. I must have failed out something. All right. Tell me about account linking.
Here's what I know about account linking.
Great.
Account
And we
linking
stored a
enables your
record,
skill to connect the
and
skill
then we say it
user's
again.
Amazon
Tell
identity
me about
with their
account linking.
identity in a different.
And
Here's what I know about
we
account
didn't get a second
linking.
record. Boom.
Account linking enables
Okay.
your skill to connect the skill
So
user's
that was
Amazon
it. I just had to
identity
change
with
the
their
primary key on
identity
that
in
so
a
that
different system. Did you know that you can
I
ask for
finished.
sound effects? Just say something like, play a laser sound effect.
Okay, so now that I have my primary keys being the things that I'm actually searching on, I don't have to change this stuff up. And so user and answer now are nicer. Now, the reason that I like to do that on my database where I have the friendly name is because this doesn't tell me anything, right? This is kind of gross. But what I can do is I can just add a field that is a lookup, and I'm going to choose the field answer, and I'm going to choose the field name, and I can create a field. And so now, I just call this name. Now I can see what the answer is. Even though I have an answer ID here, I can at least look at this table and make it human readable. So I don't have the user's name or anything yet, but maybe when we get there, we could add that field as well. But now I can see what's been matched in this table without having to do like weird conversions or anything. So answer, if I look way out here on the right-hand side, what? Oh. Where? Oh, these are sorted by, oh, I see. We want to sort these by name. And now account linking is at the top. And if I scroll out to the right, I have one record for my user. Very exciting. Okay, we are good. Let's, whoa, that's not good. Let's go ahead and say added user answer. Push, let's get that stuff out there. Okay, so if you guys are following along or you want to see this code or play with it or whatever, all of it's out on my GitHub. We just committed it there, so we're all good. So I'm going to end the broadcast for now. I might be back on tomorrow. There's a good chance of that, but we'll have to play that one by ear. But I have to run for now. Thank you guys all for tuning in.